Hello and welcome back, Soul of Tarot, number 3. Okay, so we did the first half. Oh, we got visitors. We did the first half of the Major Arcana last time, and today we're starting with Justice, number 11, lucky 11, mastership number. Oh, here comes Tina. There we go. Maybe. Okay, so when we look at the Justice card, number 11, and 11 is a mastership number, what do we see? Like, type out, what are the first things that you see? What catches your eye first? It's a very striking image. There's a lot that can catch your eye. Red clothing, green shawl, pillars. Yeah, that his shawl thing really, it confused me a little bit because I was like, what do I call that? And there's several different words for it depending on whether he is royalty or he's like a high priest or he's, you know, he likes dressing up that way or all that type of thing. So he has one hand up, one hand down, just like the magician, correct? As above, so below. And let's see. I believe Sarmar is on her way. There we go. Hello. Everyone is muted as we enter so that we can have things certain way. So we just started talking about the magician. I want you to look at the card and then put it down and tell me what is the first thing that you see. McDowell had mentioned the red clothing, the green shawl, the pillars, which harkens back to the priestess, high priestess. She's the first one we saw with the pillars. And then one hand up, one hand down, like the magician, as above, so below. And Sue, do you want to add anything? Okay. So it's like 3 pillars, correct? Okay. So there is no dominant background color because we have the tapestry behind him, which looks kind of purple. And then you have the yellow behind that. You had the gray all around him with the pillars, and he's sitting on what looks to be a rather uncomfortable bench or throne, whatever you want to call it. And his little cute little piggy toes are sticking out there with a little white shoe on. And what is the impression you get of this? I mean, he's standing there, he's got a sword in one hand, he has the scales in the other. What is the overall sensation you get from this character or this particular card? Both hands are grasping something. Swift and decisive action, very good. Like the Chariot and the High Priestess, he has the drape, and that is like the impression of having the 3 pillars and having that commonality in between the duality. He's draped in courage and passion. That's cool. Judgment, power, balance. Very good. Yes, he definitely reminds us of justice as we put that figure forth, especially with the scales. And in order for justice to work, it has to be swift and sure. So part of the reason why our justice system does not work is because it is neither swift nor sure. Because you never know. It all depends on what kind of mood the judge is in, what's going to happen. So, and why do you think his foot is kind of sticking out? What is that little bit of white there in the bottom? Maybe it shows a sense of innocence, purity, that he is not judging. You know, he's not judgmental. He is judging because he's a judge, but he's not judgmental in that he's not coming in with any preconceived notions. It is pure. His judgment is pure. Okay. And he balances out the two sides. If you look and you see, like, the sword is kind of on the one pillar, and then he has the scales on the other pillar, and it shows severity and mercy, just like the priestess. Okay. All right. I want to go through these fairly quickly so that we can do some readings with one another. Okay. So, oops. Now we have the Hanged Man. Look at the card quickly and then put it down and just tell me what you see. Okay. I like that. Barely hanging on. This is one of my favorite cards because it has so many different meanings and there's so many different ways to look at him, especially when people get it reversed. Because when you get it reversed, what does he look like? He looks like he's dancing, right? He's doing a little jig. So, and that's the difference when you have a card that's reversed, is the characters look different. Your eye is going to be pulled in a different way. That's why I don't teach reversals. So what is interesting is that this is, it looks like he's barely hanging on, very calm, at peace, balanced. This is the first card in the Major Arcana where there's absolutely no white. None. He is neither pure nor innocent. Oh yeah, he does look like he's laying on the summer grass when it's upside down. That's a cool interpretation, like just relaxing. And he has a halo on his head. And the halo is indicative of a higher state of consciousness. It's indicative of intelligence. It's indicative of clarity. So, and what do you guys think about his tree? It's a big T. Serenity here, a willingness to be of service, a fearlessness, very good. And the tree or the cross he's hanging from is a T cross. And when you look at him, is he being punished for something that he's hanging from the cross? And if he's being punished for something, what could that be? Could it be treason? The big T cross there? Or could he possibly be hanging there and he actually did not do whatever the crime is that he's hanging there for? Spelling doesn't count. What I find interesting is his bright red legs. Cleanliness, inspiration, purity. Yeah, the bright red of his legs, and they, would be at the bottom, but here it's at the top. So you have the red, the blue, and the yellow. Red pants represent human passion and the physical body, and a blue vest for knowledge. Blue is also intuition. It's also about how you express. And if you notice, red, blue, and yellow are all primary colors. So they are clear colors that are not muddied by anything else, not mixed into anything else. It's very straightforward. And if you look at his legs, they look like a number 4. And 4 is about, I love you, Sarmar. Sarmar says, legs create a 4, which popped up just as I was saying it. Somebody's psychic. So, and 4 is about having stability, having a foundation. It could be family. It's about having roots. So that's our 4. And then there's a little bit of greenery there showing growth. And maybe this punishment is teaching him something. Or maybe he's utilizing this punishment for something to grow in some way. So that's the Hanged Man. Now, everybody's favorite card. What happened here? I did it again. Death. Okay. Look at all that lusciousness in that card. Look at all that stuff going on. Anybody who thinks that this is just a one-dimensional card obviously is not looking. So when we look at death, one of the first things we see is what? What is the first thing you notice? And there's a lot going on in that card, so it could be many things. And remember, there are no wrong answers. Okay, so in death, we see there's a lot of black in this card. You see the pale horse. If you look at the horse's eyes, it's really cool. The horse is white, death is black, the polarity like the Sphinx is in the Chariot. Very good, yes. We lost Sue. Okay. So here, if we want to go all the way into the back of the card, start at the background. Caution, flow, purity, spiritual, very good. And if we look all the way to the back, what's back there? We see a sun. Is it setting? Is it rising? What do you guys think? The sun might be setting. Well, when you think of death, you think of the sun setting. And in a lot of mythologies, a lot of tales, is when the sun goes down, it takes all the souls with him. And the sun god, or the sun chariot, or whatever it may be, goes through the underworld and takes you through the darkness and deposits you in the underworld. But is the sun going to make it through? Or is it going to get eaten up before it comes back up? They were never sure if the sun was going to be consistent. Is it going to come up tomorrow? There's always that fear because it was going through all this treacherous land and the underworld in order to come back up. So death oftentimes was seen as a setting sun. Your life is setting. And what is the sun coming up or going down between? What do you see in the background there? Two pillars, right? The two towers. Two towers, something joining the two. We're getting a theme here. I think we're getting the gist of this at this point. They keep giving you the same imagery. It's slightly different, but it's there for you to see and to tap into. So this death, what it could mean in a reading is, all right, yes, something is coming to an end. It's setting, it's over. However, it's tying together other things, and things are more balanced, or it's bringing balance back. Maybe you have to leave that job in order to come back into balance and have serenity and that type of thing. So, all right. I want you to take a look at the guy who's lying there and what is lying near him. What are your thoughts? This is a person who is richly dressed. Their head is bare. They're prone on the ground. Their shoes are red. They're in blue, and their blue garb almost like goes into this little pond in the back. It's meant to almost flow into it, like it's almost part of it, like he's now part of the flow. He's part of that water. And then if you look right near the horse's foot is the crown, and there's red in the crown. So you assume, you know, he was shot or whatever, but he's got a big boo-boo. He's not coming home. And then here we have his scepter thrown on the ground. So it's like the things that told us who he was in life, the things that are there have been thrown asunder. So his identity is not wrapped up in that. Those are things. His identity is different. So if you get that in a reading and you're looking at that and that comes up and that's where your eye falls, you might say to the person, you know, you're gaining a new identity. You're coming into your full self. So and then the characters in front of him, each of them has a completely different expression. If you look at the little boy and he reflects the man on the ground with blue. You see the young girl and she's kind of like leaning back, like she wants nothing to do with it. She doesn't even want to see it. And then you see the priest or holy person either giving an offering or requesting something. He is definitely praying, please leave us alone. And that type of thing. So there we go. Okay, and we have in the back, all right, this is a contest to see who wins. look in the background. There's something odd. I want you to tell me what it is. Go. I don't know if this is clear enough. It's small. It's in the background. It's under the horse. Mountains, infant son of sun. Oh, that's cool. The arrow coming out of his foot. Yes, McDowell got it. So yes, there is the sailboat there, and that is often depicted as the boat on the river. What is the name of it? In Greek mythology, you have to go, the river Styx. I was thinking the river Thames. There you go. Yes, the river Styx. So this is depicted as the river Styx and the boat that carries the souls to the underworld. And there's an arrow right by his foot back there. Whoop. I don't know if you can see it. It might not be. Anyway, and the arrow is facing in the opposite direction that the boat is going. Pay attention because you're going to see that symbol in other cards as we move forward. And it usually is not terribly obvious that it's there, but it's showing movement. And it might be showing a movement away from something or a movement towards something. So as the boat on the river Styx brings the souls out of the world, there's this arrow pointing in the other direction. Is it pointing to the ship or to the water? I don't know. It looks like it's pointing to the land. It's pointing upward towards the land. So where the ship is going to go in one direction, that arrow is pointing in a different direction. And it's, if your eye falls on that and you notice it when you're doing a reading, this person has a choice. They could take the high road or they could take the low road. So the low road would be allowing themselves to succumb to depression or negativity or that kind of thing. The high road, you would be utilizing whatever was happening, however traumatic, you would be utilizing those lessons in order to create something more, or in order to become something more, be reborn. You use it as a rebirth. Okay? So that was death. And now, temperance. Why is I keep typing and it's not going on there because I'm like somewhere else. All right, temperance. Like I said, there's temperance. Now the temperance angel in a lot of different cards, she's shown a little bit differently. So the way I've seen her depicted, and she is a little bit, but because the colors are not really, the colors are muted on this deck. I see Tina's. But I don't see the colors in her wings being very bright or anything in yours either. In the, because her wings are rainbow color. They're all different colors. And in yours, they just look dark. It could be the lighting too, or the lack thereof. So when we look at temperance, I'll wait until I see that you guys have your temperance card out. I want you to look at that, and then first thing that hits your eye, what is it? And remember, if you want to record this, you can. I set it up so that you each can record it on your own device if you choose to. Lots of duality, 2 mountain peaks, 2 yellow lilies, 2 cups, 2 wings, 2 halo symbols. Yes. The other thing is I've seen her depicted with a silver cup and a gold cup as opposed to 2 gold cups, but in this one it's 2 gold cups. The water not spilling from one cup to the other. Correct. It's like a magical thing that's happening there. Partnership. Yes. Spiritual. Flow from one to the other. Yes. I want you to look back at the mountains and look at the sun closely. What does it look like? Is that the sun? Looks like a halo or a crown, correct. Some people say it's a UFO. So depending on who you're reading, if they have grayish skin, you know, it might be telling you something. Or really big eyes. So the Temperance is not the last card where you're going to see a character that who's partially in water and partially on the land. You're going to see this come up several times. What do you think that means? What does that indicate to you? Balance, flexibility, correct. Very good. Transition, excellent. Openness, very good. So if we look at that and we look at the land as being like stability or where things are solid, and he has 1 foot in water and 1 foot on the land, that's somebody who maybe walks between 2 worlds, which is a way to refer to shaman and psychics and people who do that type of work. That may be an indicator that they are equally aware of their subconscious as they are of their conscious. So they're not so driven to react, but to act. So they understand what drives them, what is there in the deep wood. It also has a sense of cleansing. And again, we see a pathway. Is it going to the mountains? Is it coming from the mountains? Depends on where you're going and where it lands. But it is something that connects with either a past or a future that looks grand, but you have these peaks that are very sharp. So yes, you may accomplish a lot. However, it's not going to be easy. Don't expect things to be handed to you, and you have to deal with things in a just manner. With Temperance, you don't go all one way, you don't go all the other way. You're in the middle and you're balanced. Now, is there anything else on this card that you guys want to note? Orange, I was waiting for somebody. Orange triangle on his chest. You're going to see that a lot of times too. You're going to see triangles, circles, and squares. They're all over the place. They're in a lot of the symbolism. So the triangle could be the Holy Trinity. mind, body, spirit, earth, heaven, and the underworld. The triangle generally, especially this is an equilateral triangle. Can't believe I remember all these names of the triangles and stuff. But an equilateral triangle, each has the same degree. Each point is the same. They're all the same size. They're in the same position. So it's an equilateral triangle, which shows supreme balance. And the square often indicates the physical world. So you're talking about having supreme balance in the physical world. Okay, let's see. Okay, and the clear sky behind him shows that things have become more clear, but it is gray. It's not like that bright yellow. So it's going to take some, excuse me, take some doing. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I said the right thing about the square. I did. So the triangle is definitely divinity. Okay. And I know we're going through these fairly quickly. We do have, I have everything mapped out from the notes from last week, where you can fill out what you think the meanings are. That was like 20 pages of notes or something. And it shows each of them. I don't want to get so far into each of the details that then when we get to the minor arcana, which is a lot more cards, we really will begin repeating ourselves. So I don't want to do that too much. This is like, these are the major symbols. And then we're going to start looking at the cards as a whole and how we read them, how you pull from it, whatever it is that you're supposed to know. Okay. So everybody's favorite card, the Devil. And the Devil harkens back to the Lovers. You have the same two characters in the front. On their tails are the symbols similar to what was behind them in the Lovers card. So this is what you see. They are very similar. So in the Devil card, he has the post in between them and the chains. In the Lovers card, it's the mountain. In the Devil card, she's facing outward. He is facing her. So in both cards, he is looking to her. And she, in the Lovers card, is looking up. In this one, she's simply looking out. And the Devil has, the torch is down. His hand is up, as above, so below. He has his cool little bat wings. The background is black. Okay. So her tail is made of grapes. Do you guys have any idea what that might be? What that would be indicative of? Reproduction and fertility, pregnancy, fruitful. Think grapes. What's made out of grapes? Wine, inebriation, bonus. McDowell does it again. Yes, because they are here, like what is making them be in this place? Are they truly captured? I mean, look at them. Look at the chains around their necks. Are they really stuck there? No, they put themselves there. They are there because of their own desires and the way they deal with them. They are trapped by their own desire or by their own action. Temptation, correct. So, and he's got the little fire tail, and that would be, like Tina said, temptation. It could be lust. I mean, look at the way he's looking at her. He's like, hey, honey, come here. I see you're drunk. Come here. I'll take you home. You know? And if you look at the devil character here, he has the ram's horns. He's got a goat bottom with feet from like a crow or something and a human top, and then the bat's wings. So he is representing like all these different creatures in balance. And if you look at his hands, he's giving a blessing. Live long and prosper. But that's actually a Jewish symbol of long life. So that is showing you that things are not as they appear. You have that come up in a reading, and you're reading somebody and they're like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened, and this person is doing this and this person is doing that. They are the problem. They're holding themselves in that space. They're perpetuating whatever it is that's happening. Maybe they're an alcoholic. Maybe they're cheating on their husband. Maybe, you know, you have to go outside the box with that. Where does your vision lie? And when we see that the Pentacles is upside down there, that shows that whatever's happening is being pulled from the lower self or the lower elements of survival. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but not rock and roll. But sex and drugs and those types of things are all lower elements. Like someone who is worried about survival doesn't have time to get up here and think about, you know, God's creation and where they fit in the world and how can they be a better person, because they're so worried all the time about satisfying these lower needs. So, is there anything else on that card that you want to see or that you're curious about? The flames are desire. So if you look, it looks almost like he has this torch. And you can look at it as either his torch was set aflame by the tail of the man, or that the torch set the man's tail on fire. But it's about desire, burning through things. And it's inspiration too. Like flames can be inspiration. It can be burning through things, like getting rid of things from the past. It could be like making somebody move. You know, you put a fire under their butt. Just what he's doing. The man's hand is stretched out. The man's hand is stretched out towards the woman, just like in the Lover's card. Although in the Lover's card, it was more open, but he's still motioning towards the woman. So he's reaching out. It's like he wants something. He's commanding something. He's like trying to take something. And her hands are down, facing down. And he's half in akimbo. You know, akimbo is like, that's a power pose. Okay. We're going to go to the next one. Another awesome card. The Tower. Gotta love the Tower. That's what's happening right now. We're in the middle of this. So what is the first thing you guys see or think of when you look at that card? Falling figures, chaos, panic. We'll go with the falling figures first. Do you think they were thrown or did they jump? Somebody get tossed out? Panic, jumped? The one guy is flying backwards. I think he got pushed. And he's the one with the crown on his head. One jumped, one was thrown. That's what I think. But they both could have jumped. I mean, he could have been dramatic and be like, no, and flew backwards. But I see one as jumping and one as falling. The one to the left, by the fact that he's facing forward, seems to indicate that he jumped. And while he's perilously falling to the earth, he sees where he's going. Correct. He has an idea. He's like, all right, I'm going to face plant here. And the other one is flying backwards all willy-nilly and does not, like, isn't really direct in where he's going or what's happening. The one on the left looks like he's much more in motion. Yes. He's getting ready to brace himself. His legs are clothed, gray boots, and his tunic is also blue, but it's covered up by the flowing red cape. He's just hoping to survive the fall. Correct. Yes. And the one on the right, he's all in blue and looks almost like, if you look to see how long his cloak is, it goes back and it looks almost like water going up to the window. He's wearing all blue, which in this case means transition and perhaps resignation. Yeah, he might be like, this is no way to get out of this. We've been had. He has a crown, possibly royalty. Yes. At least he thinks so. And if you notice, he's wearing a crown and there's a crown up top that is toppling also. So when you're doing a reading, and this is like the grand scheme of things, maybe somebody's having a problem at work, one of the bosses is really bad, something like that, and this comes out, you might see that, you know, things are actually in chaos and that person is going to be ousted. Whoever thinks they're in control is not really in control, and somebody bigger and badder is going to come in and just toss them. And it's going to seem like chaos, but you know, you can make it. You're going to be all right because you see it coming. And do you notice anything else towards the top? Show me yours, Tina. No, there you go. All right, yes, that's close enough. Yeah, you should be able to see it. Looking up there, what do we see? The arrow again, yes. It's very directed, it's very pointed. This right here, this is karma. It is targeted at the top of the tower, the crown chakra. It could be the arrow coming from the lightning bolt, yes. It could definitely be like all of a sudden you get big download, things are changing. It could also be something that's stronger than you is wreaking havoc. This is your karma. Stuff is coming up. What you sow, you shall reap. So this also can be a very good card. It would be a good card if you're stuck in a situation where your boss is a jerk. He might not be there much longer, or where you're in a bad marriage, or there's something happening where whoever's in control needs to be ousted, and that's where you see this. Any last questions on this one? The Star. Everybody okay with moving past the Tower? Okay. The Star. This is a cool one too. Now, is there anything you see here that harkens back to any of the past cards that you think? Temperance, correct. And the 2 cups. Mm-hmm. What does he have? Oh, wrong one. I'm so dyslexic. What does he have? What is he shining? He's shining a gold star. And what do we have here? A gold star. Different amount of points because this is evolved, but the tree, correct. The water is flowing out this time, correct. It's not that magical hovering from one to the other where you don't know which direction it's going in. So, any ideas about why she's pouring water into the pond and onto the land? So water's emotion, it's nurturing, it's about being in the flow, it's about communicating. So when we have a large body of water, that often is the subconscious or simply the flow. Since that is just standing still, I'm going to say that's probably the subconscious. She's pouring it onto the land, and if you look at it, some of it is flowing back into the subconscious. So she's talking about like she's replenishing the watering hole, and at the same time she's feeding the plants on the outside, but that water still goes back into the watering hole. It's circle of life, that things will return. Need some calmness. And if you look, is she truly in the water and on land? No, she's standing on the water. So she's above it. She's above the subconscious. She's conquered it in a way. And she is so sure of herself that she is butt naked. She is completely and thoroughly confident, and she has a feeling of safety. Unlike this guy who is clothed from head to toe and very little of him is showing, he is completely shielded, whereas she is an open book. And if we go back to the tree, it's a bit of a scraggly tree, but it has a big honking bird on it. I mean, look at the size of that bird compared, like how small is that tree? But it's holding him up. That's a big bird. And it looks like a stork to some people. So what do we think the bird in the tree is supposed to symbolize? Tree of life, very good, yes. Just think of, just free associate birds. Support, a cycle of life, very good. Birds are often seen as messengers. Some people see them as harbingers of doom, and some of them see them as like picking up souls and bringing them to heaven. Some people see them as bringing babies, like the stork does, of renewal. So depending on what comes into your mind when you see that bird, if that catches your eye, whatever the first thing you think of is where you need to go with it. And the theme of this card is number 8. If you look at the star, there are 8 pointed stars. How many stars are there? There's 7 plus 1, 8. What is the number of the card? It is 17. 7 plus 1 equals 8. 8 is about the continuity of life, infinity, give and take. And 8 specifically is about learning. It's a very karmic number. It's about being in school, learning as much as you can. And that's where she is. 7 is the number of harmony. 1 is the number of the self. So it's finding harmony. And you're wrapping up karma, and you're doing things, and then you have your 8. Okay. So is there anything else there that catches your eye? I like the fact that she's got a little tummy. She looks like a real woman. Purple mountains and green on the ground. So when you see the purple mountains all the way in the back, it kind of indicates that they're either in shadow or they're at a great distance. Mountains are usually things that you need to overcome or that you have overcome. And considering the way everything else is talking about learning and that you've learned things, I would say that the mountains in the background are things that you've overcome. They're hardship that you've overcome. And that you've learned, you've taken the spiritual lesson from these things. Like you've really grown. And so they're purple instead of being white capped or jagged or anything, because they're very rounded also. So they seem really old. It's stuff that really was in your past. But if it draws your eye, that may be something that is still coming up for you. And then we look at how she's pouring the water on the ground. And on the ground, there are 5 little streams coming from that. And 5 is the number of perfection. It's the number of humanity, of balance. And it could also indicate, as you said, the 5 senses. That's good. And the green is showing promise. That there's life, there's promise, there's healing. Especially if you look at this card as being a karmic card, and she's come over those mountains, she's learned so much. You know, very lovely. Okay. Hi, baby. Anything else? Oh, hello. There we go. So, all right, so the next, the moon. I think my camera is getting mad because I'm making it focus and focus. So it's like, I'm not going to focus on you anymore. Okay, so we look at the moon. And what is the first thing that catches your eye in that card? And there's a lot there. Universal, from sun. The face, looking down at them. The dog and the wolf are not happy. That's got to be McDowell. That was McDowell. Okay, so as we look at this card and everything, let's look at the top first. What do you think is happening there? It appears to be the sun eclipse, correct. The sun with the moon in front of it. It is an eclipse, and an eclipse usually tells you that you need to look at things in a different light. Not everything is as it seems. And as we're looking at that, we also see the two towers again in the back. But this time, it doesn't really seem like there's anything connecting them. I mean, far in the back, you have the jagged mountains, but they're down quite a ways. They're not right across. So this is where there's more of a division between two sides or two ways of seeing things. And then we have the wolf and the dog. So what do you think the dog represents? What would the dog represent to you? And he's a cute little like orange brown dog. Pet. Motion, energy, action. Those two together, confrontation, there definitely looks like there's a confrontation happening, except that if you look, the dog is howling at the moon or at the eclipse, and the wolf is like looking at the dog, which reminds me of the Lovers card, where the man is looking to the woman, but the woman is looking up at greater things. And the path is between these two. So you need to figure out, how do you get through there and what's happening there? He's seated crosswise to the moon, which in dog language is submissive stance. He's baring his teeth. Very nice. Yes. He seems like he's trying to figure out what's going on. He doesn't quite understand what's happening. So you have one side, which is more tame. The dog is tame. Dogs are loyal. They're friendly. They're helpful. They, you know, even as pets, like they're very calming. Then you have the wolves, who are very intelligent. They are pack animals. They are wild and very strong and oftentimes very large. So the dog and the wolf are the symbol of loyalty and protection. They are protecting someone or something from the moon or from that energetic, from the energy of the unknown. And then as you look, you see this little crawfish, and some people see that as the Scorpio, a symbol of Scorpio, if you just look at it real quick. And that is things coming out from your subconscious, things coming out of the flow and like making themselves known. And that's the only one out of the three figures here that is actually look like he's on his way to the path. But where is that path leading? It's into the mountains, which is difficulty, hardship, overcoming things, accomplishing things. And yes, the mountains are jagged. Now there's a part of this card that I want you to look at, and it's here, like in between them. It's before you get to the mountains. Now some people, like especially in front of this one, yeah, it looks almost like water. And some people read that the two towers are actually in water, like in the ocean, and then you go further back to the mountains. So what would that represent? If that's what caught your eye, if you looked at that and you're like, that's in the water, like, why is that in the water? Like, that's so odd. Like, what does that mean to you? Rocky and stable, yeah. Hardship, mm-hmm. I mean, in those towers, the way they're shaped and them having just the top where there's the little opening, they look like watchtowers. So you're watching for something. When you get this card, often means be aware. Things are not the way they appear. You need to look at things from a different angle. Turmoil, yes, very good. Now, is there anything else on this card that we want to look at before we move to the sun? It's a little bit dark. The yellow metals, okay. The yellow coming down, and you'll see those in a lot of the cards. Like it was in the tower, if you notice in the tower, they had it. That is usually supposed to signify like little flames, little bursts of energy, little bursts of thought, inspiration, that type of thing. Petals. They do look like petals, like somebody's just like flying. Their thoughts, their ideas. I like the idea of inspiration for those. All right, yeah, so far only the tower had them. Okay. So, the sun. Very cute. Yes. So the sun obviously seems like a pretty happy card, I would say. What do you guys think? So when we look at this card and you put it down, where was your eye drawn? What is the first thing that you see? No smile. The sun's not smiling, correct? Yes. The sun is just all like, there's that kid again. The sun is rather placid, ambivalent. Sarmar, what do you see? Life, energy, strength, and the ribbon to the right. Yes, that is a very big banner. Child, horse are happy. Yes. Well, the horse doesn't look like he's having quite as much fun as the kid is. But there's definitely a sense of flow and happiness here. Childhood, yes. So if somebody just asked you, am I pregnant? And this was the first card you drew, what would your answer be? Yes, probably. So looking at the banner looks luscious. It's red and orange, it's brilliant, it's flowing, it's big. He's having a grand old time with that. I don't even know how he's carrying the whole thing. It looks too heavy. But he looks like he's carrying it very easily. What does the banner symbolize to you guys? Life, flow, abundance, excellent. Victory, leadership. Kind of mirrors the red feather on his head. Playful, fun. Orange is usually creativity, ideas, inspiration. So this is a really, really fun card. Do you notice anything interesting about the sunflowers? What are they facing? The child, right? You're facing forward. They're facing the kid. They're not facing the sun. Maybe that's why the sun's like, yo, kid, taking my mojo. What are you doing? So this child is so radiant and so brilliant that the sunflowers think he is brighter than the sun, so they're following him. Okay. Horses are generally stability, forward movement. And this is a pony. Very sturdy. Is there anything on this card you guys want to talk about before we move on to the next? No, you good? Okay. On to the next. Judgment. Dun, dun, dun. Judgment. So when we think about judgment nowadays, we're always talking about don't judge. You can't judge. Don't judge me. You don't know me. And that kind of thing. That is not true judgment. We're talking about being prejudiced, being prejudicial when we say that. When we talk about judgment in that manner, we're talking about people making assumptions, not about people judging properly. This looks like praise, glory. Yes, it's the judgment. The dead rising up and being judged. We have Gabriel's trumpet there that opens the gates of heaven and wakes up the dead to rise up to heaven. This kind of judgment means weighing all options and all things and discerning where you fit in or where someone else fits in. Banner of a cross within the square. The cross is perfectly balanced between heaven and earth. Correct. Very good. Somebody remembered. And it's red showing life force and white being humility, innocence. And you notice people are standing in their coffins and they're in the middle of the water, like sea burials, like what's going on there? But they're floating on the water because the water is, again, reminiscent of the river Styx. Could be the flow of life, intuition. And if you notice, you have 3 people close to you. It looks like a mom, a dad, and a kid, and 3 people further, mom, a dad, and a kid. Or that's the, the assumption anyway. All 6 figures are looking up at the angel and imploring a good judgment. Everyone's arms are outstretched. They're very vulnerable, except the man on the left. His arms are tightly against his side, suggesting that he isn't as open. He isn't letting himself be vulnerable. Yes. Very good. He's more like, well, maybe. I'm not sure. You don't look so friendly. You're up in the sky. You got flames coming out of your hair. What's going on here? But that's also reminiscent of the angel in the Lover's card. Remember the angel in the Lover's card had the, I think it was the green and the red. Yes, in his hair. See, he's got the flames in his hair also. What, dearie? No, honey, don't do that. Come on. Okay. So, and in the back, we have snow-covered mountains that are jagged. And you'll notice, what, baby? Come up here. Come up here if you want attention. You'll notice if in a lot of the cards, it'll be like mountains in the way back and then water. And then wherever you are. So we may talk about that more later. Hi, baby. Hi. What you doing? Hi. Yes. I know. Okay. Any questions about this card before we move forward? That card is often about family and balance, and it's got, the old-fashioned family setup dynamic of 2 parents and a child. See blood, you'll know why. Yep. Uh-oh. You better be careful. Those are going to come through to scream at you. Okay. So that's judgment. All right. I forgot I shut off my thing because she was walking across it. Okay, so now we have the world. Who is this reminiscent of? Do we remember? I'll give you a hint. Hanged Man. Yes, that is one of them it's reminiscent of. I was thinking of this one. See the four corners? But yes, the Hanged Man also, her position is very reminiscent of the Hanged Man. With her legs crossed in a four. Now, as we look at that, there's a lot of symbolism there, just like there was in the Wheel of Fortune. You have the four corners. They represent the four gospels. They represent the four directions. They represent the four, like, earth, air, fire, water elements, the four elements. So to know what each of those four indicates, you could just look at our notes from last time, because it's the same symbolism. So where it is slightly different is, instead of a perfect circle, we have an oval, which is because there's a woman in the middle of it. She has a beautiful purple banner draped around her. And what is she holding in her hand? What is that reminiscent of? Do you remember? It look the same? And in the chariot, you see the top of it. He doesn't have the full thing. So, and if we look, she's in this beautiful green wreath that's held together by two red ribbons. And those ribbons, if they were allowed to, you would see the full thing. They are infinity signs. As above, so below, correct. And she's really cool because she is just like hanging out midair. Wouldn't that be fun to be able to do? I don't know if you have to be naked to do that, but. And she's showing that she is very free, very aware of herself. She can be vulnerable, and it doesn't matter because she is in control. Correct. She's not entirely naked. Is she authority? Yes. She is reminiscent of Venus. So she's a powerful, striking figure. But the laurel wreath around her tells you that not only is she powerful and victorious, but she is also kind and shows mercy. And the circle there leads us back to the Fool. It is perfection. It's the beginning and the end of a cycle. But the Fool went from beginning this journey and looking for new things and learning all these different lessons to being more complete. And then he starts again. Because we all know you don't know what you don't know. There's always more to learn, always. And she has that beautiful blue background. So she also knows how to express herself fully and be understood. And that is with all levels of creation. And with that, we are done. All the major arcana. So, give me a show of hands. Who wants to do a quick little one-card reading for each other now for the last 15 minutes? Or do you want to stop here and just start on the minor arcana next time we get together? Show me your hand if you want to do quick one-card readings or even 3-card readings. Come on, come on. Come on, McDowell. Come on. You can do it. This is the easy part. All right, I'm going to unmute everybody. Dun, dun, dun. All right. You're all unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So
I have a question, Jer.
yes.
Do you know why everybody's blonde?
In these, in the cards, they're not all blonde, but a lot of them are. And a lot of them are blonde because it's supposed to be a show actually of intelligence.
Being blonde?
Now we say dumb blonde, but the intelligence. But like some of them do have darker hair. There are some with like reddish hair.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a lot more.
There's a lot of blondes.
Yes. Like one's blonde, one's brunette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and white hair is big too. We see a lot of old white guys.
Just what we need.
Yes, but Rider Waite, Edward Waite, Sam Rider Waite, that's the name of the deck. But Edward Waite was, I believe he was British.
Sounds like it.
He was probably fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, so this is what we're going to do. I want, let's see, how do I want to start? I'm going to make you guys start. I'm not going to start. I will instruct you as you read one another. And we're going to start with Soramar. Am I pronouncing your name correctly or am I killing it?
No, you got it.
Soramar, I want you to pick a card for Tina.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So are we picking from what we've already?
Yes,
Okay.
from the Major Arcana.
Let's see. I think I got them all in one card.
Oh, did you already shuffle yours together?
No, I got a few from today. So let me.
Okay.
The one card.
Yeah, I figured because we did these already.
Yeah.
The ones that are the Major Arcana, we just finished those, right?
Yes,
We did half last time and half this time.
correct.
Okay.
All right. So for Tina, I got the Fool.
Ah, there we go.
That's me.
Okay, now give us your reading, Soramar.
So I got a transition from something new. You're going or learning something new. Education. Let's see. But you're having doubt? Let's see. There's some clarity in there, intelligence, and direction. Pretty much it.
Pretty interesting.
Very good.
It's harder than
Now, Tina, ask her a question.
Hmm. Can you see why I have doubt?
Let's see. I just get uncertainty. Maybe something.
Close your eyes, take a deep breath. First thing that pops in your mind.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm blocked.
You're not blocked because you said it already.
I got uncertainty, but I think she's questioning herself.
Yes. Self-doubt, uncertainty.
Yep,
And where do you think that's coming from?
from her ego.
Mhm.
Let's see. Like you're looking for a specific area, maybe?
Excellent. I'll let you off the hook now.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was good.
Okay. All right, Tina. Now it's your turn to pull a card for McDowell and give her a reading.
Okay. This is the card I pulled. Can you see it? Justice. I have no idea what this card means off the top of my head. I guess I see power here and strength. I see confidence. I don't remember what the columns mean. That's what I see, that you're headed somewhere where you know you'll be fine. And you know what you're doing.
Do you have a question?
Hang on a minute. No. I like this card because it is about balance, but my feeling about this card is that there's more passion in it than some people read into this card. And so my question would be, am I leaning towards the passion side and not towards, am I forgetting that he holds the balance so lightly, but he's gripping the sword. That's why, to me, there's more passion there in that card. So you're feeling, Tina, am I kind of balancing that correctly, or am I leaning one way or the other too much in my head?
I feel that you know what you're doing, and you don't have to keep evaluating it.
Oh, that's very good.
That's what I think.
You nailed it, Tina. Very good. I can't hear you. Everybody's muted but me.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was overthinking. I'd have to be careful about it. I probably pressed a button.
No, it was me. My brain's not working well lately. So McDowell, I would like you to pull a card for Saramar.
By the way, Soramar, I love your name.
Thank you. It means it's not a question.
It's fun to have an unusual name, isn't it?
It is. Well, I didn't like it until I was an adult, but now I love it.
I totally get that. Okay, well, we have pulled for you today. Can you see it? The Lovers. Okay, so. Okay, so my feeling about this card when I look at this is there is benevolence. There is more power in you from the female side and the ability to do what it is that you need to do from that feminine side, regardless of whether of any masculine figures that might be in your life. What I like about this too is there's a real sense of uplifting. Whatever you're going through right now gives me a sense of being uplifted. There's wings. People are looking up. That sense of growth and passion. I like that about this card as well. Also, there seems to be, it's very fertile landscape. So I think what's going on in your life right now has a lot of fertility to it, a lot of opportunity and growth to it. As long as you keep your sights up, allow yourself to feel that passion, allow yourself to participate in that. And then I think that guidance will come to you in the way that it needs to come to you. That's what I see.
Beautiful. That's exactly where my direction is with my whole passion with, I've done a lot of energy work and all that. So that's perfect. Well said.
Great. Do you have any questions for me that you're interested in particular that we might see from here?
Let's see. No, I think I'm good. I think you answered.
Good.
Thank you.
Welcome.
She muted herself again.
Don't you want somebody to do you, Jer?
Okay.
There you go.
Everybody unmuted now. I hit unmute all, and for some reason it muted me and unmuted everybody else.
Did you hear what I asked?
Yes, you said, don't you want someone to do you? And no, no, I do not. We're good. Well, for a couple of reasons. One is I think that at this point in time, it might be stressful for somebody. And plus with the three of you being able to read one another, then I would either have to do one of two things, either each of you read me or, oh, that might be fun actually. If I had all three of you pick a card and we would do like Tina is my past, Sarmar is the present, McDowell is the future.
Oh, nice.
Three-card spread, and then the three of you read in tandem. And the thing about reading in tandem is that oftentimes if you're energetically connected to other people, other psychics while you're doing it, it amplifies the stuff that you get. Like you can get a lot more information. So do you guys want to experiment?
Whoa. No pressure.
No pressure or anything, yeah.
I'm game, whatever anybody wants to do.
Sure.
Okay, so Tina is the past. She'll pick a card first. Sarmar is now, and McDowell is the future. The three of you, I want you to pick your cards at the same time and show them. And that way you can kind of see like the rhythm of the reading also. And you may begin.
Count to three.
1, 2, 3. Okay. We have the moon, the Hierophant, and the star.
All right.
So you want the past first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's so much in this card.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I kind of see you as the wolf, not the dog. Identifying with the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me like you've been really strong and created a very strong foundation. I think that's all I have.
Okay. So you two, do you feel anything else from the moon? specifically, like anything else that you feel would go into the reading?
Put that card again.
Well, I think this was the past, right, Geralyn?
Yes.
Okay. Certainly, all about it, that it's not what it seems. And it seems to me that, of course, I do know you a little, but also so much of the work you've done has been about revealing what it really is and not what it seems. And this is so much about be careful of what you think you see.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing that there's a vulnerability in here. The thing about the crayfish that always kind of makes me interested is that this is the one creature that is coming out of his natural habitat. He's coming out of the water onto a path that this animal isn't used to being on. And if he comes onto land, he is out of his element. So I think that was a lot of what has been about your past, feeling out of your element, knowing though that you've got to move forward, to be vulnerable, to get up on that path, to move forward. Also, this poor little lobster is going between two ravenous beasts. At that particular moment may decide that this isn't a bad idea to just be really annoyed and grab at him. So I think there, for you in the past, was a lot of risk that had to be taken, and being able to see that the world is more than we know. It's not what we thought it was. And the only way you're going to do that is head off into the unknown, because this path in a couple places you came and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Disappears and then heads off into who knows where.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my sense with the moon of what your past has consisted of.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to add, Sarmar, or you want to start on your card?
No, I think they said it well. So with my card, how do you say that again? The
Hierophant.
Hierophant. So, I see this as, and this is hard because I know some stuff about you. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I see you teaching, you leading the way. I see the red for some reason. I like romance. There's a lot of clarity and calmness. Ooh, there's balance, but I get a little uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So not sure how that fits in, but and I get that you're the powerful one, and if I relate it to relationship, I don't know if it does make sense, but more you feel in control or the one with the power in relationship. Sometimes maybe you don't know how to let your guard down or sometimes be soft. So I don't know why I got that from that, but pretty much that was it.
That's good.
Without going into the teaching stuff, because we all know that you teach.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious at the moment, right? So, Tina, did you want to add anything?
Can you hold the card up for me? Because I can't find mine right now in my deck. Let me just see.
Can you see them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the only thing I would add is there's so much power there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you know it. But I'm not sure if you really know. I'm not sure you're unleashed yet.
That is a scary thought.
It is scary. Knowing you so well, it is scary, but that's really what I feel about it, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Miss McDowell?
To weigh in on this one?
Yes.
Yeah. I think what's interesting so far we've seen in the moon and with the Hierophant and then the star, there is duality in all three of these cards.
Mhm.
And that first one with the moon was not everything is what it seems.
Mhm.
So lots of duality in that card. The towers, the two animals, just a lot here that is about balance and that wisdom and mercy, severity and mercy. To me, you got the same thing in here, but now what's interesting is if this is the present, what I see this is there's a lot of what I would call religious symbols in this card, as well as spiritual symbols.
Mhm.
And now we're back to the duality again, that balance of the religious that feels to me that is important to you, but at the same time, that spiritual, that larger sense as well. And then being able to balance the two. And again, hands upright, unlike the magician and some of the others with the upright and the down, the balance is now moving more towards the heavenward, towards that connection with the divine self, being able to meld those religious and the spiritual as well.
Very good. Thank you.
And so now, of course, we go on to the star. To me, if you look at, of course, this is too dandy for words, a lot of duality again, of course, lots of duality. But what's interesting about this is the moon, the creatures are all upright. Everything is upright and pretty rigid in body shape. Hierophant, same thing, upright. The creatures are upright. She's upright. Everything is upright. Kneeling. Get to this, and it's more about humility to me, and kneeling and honoring both the above and below. A lot more fluid. The animals are uncovered, but they're not really, because they're wearing fur. And the lobster's covered up too. That's a big shell. They're covered. Totally covered. The Hierophant is totally covered. What's going on in the future? Totally vulnerable, uncovered. All that lovely sense of 8, like you said, the continuity of life, infinity, etc. Flowing into the earth and into the water. This has, to me, for you, the perfect synergy of where we've gone from the past and the present to a flow to the future that is entirely being able to put it all together, the religious and the symbolic, all of the unity, the continuity of life, giving back to the earth, pouring into that with all the senses that you have at your disposal, but also with the sun shining down. And what I always find interesting about these cards is that typically we only see the stars at night or the moon at night. And most of the cards in the Major Arcana show the moon and the stars in what appear to be the daytime. And again, the balance of the two, the pulling it all together and letting it blend and flow as one. That's how I see that.
Thank you. So, does anybody else have anything to add?
That was nice. Good job.
Very nice. Yes.
That was fun, all three of us.
Yeah. See,
I had the easier part. I got to go last.
Yeah.
That was easier.
Yeah. So next week we will start on the minors. So have them the way I do them. Most people do like you do all the pentacles, you do all the swords, you do all the da 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 da. Not me. I gotta be different.
Yes, you are.
All the 2s, all the 3s, all the 4s, all the 5s.
Wow.
And we look to see what are is there symbolism that is throughout all the same number? Like what is the through line there? So we will get through those. So this is our 3rd class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 more classes. The last class will be totally spreads, and we'll be reading each other for that one. So we will do all of the cards the next 2 classes. So you figure each suit has from ace through king. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 14. So if we do 7 numbers the next time, then we could do 7 numbers the second day and then do our spreads on the 6th. So just have them, if we have them ready like that, all the 2s, all the 3s, all the 4s, all the 5s, it'll be easier because then we won't be shuffling and looking for stuff and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, and I think it is easier if I have it set up now where whoever wants to record it can record it for their own edification so that they have it. I will upload this to YouTube. It's private in YouTube, so it's not like anybody can search for it and find it. You can only get to it if you have the link. And I will upload it to YouTube in case you can't, save it on your computer or whatnot. And like Sue, her internet went out, so she couldn't get back on. She let me know that her internet was out. So, that way she and Terry can look at these and know what we did today and know what to expect for next week.
Awesome. That's a great idea.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why did I only think there was 5 classes, not 6?
I don't know.
It's really 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was 5, so great.
Yeah. Well, the 6th one is all spreads. It's not like you've learned all the cards by then, and we've done a couple of little spreads by then. So, whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I am starting, I have a class on the 25th, which is going to be, what am I doing that day? I think it's, what am I doing that day? I don't remember. I scheduled something for the 25th. See, I got too much going on. And then I'm starting another class called Pulling Yourself Together, which is a series of classes where we do soul retrieval and that type of thing to help with healing. Here we go. The 25th, Saturday the 25th at 1 p.m. energy healing. So it's how to activate your ability to heal energetically. First, we'll play with energy so you know what you're feeling, and then we'll direct it, and I'll teach you my method of energy healing, which I am not formally trained. I, got to download, the spirit shows me stuff, and then I just pass it on. And then on the 26th is when I start Pulling Yourself Together, and that's another 6-week. It's on Sundays at 6:30 on Sundays, primarily because I made a mistake when I was scheduling it. It put me on Sundays for some reason. So I'm like, all right, I guess we're supposed to be on Sundays. And what that will be is learning how to pull energy. So you'll be learning the white light meditation, which I call the universal force meditation or something like that. And then we'll be doing a soul retrieval. Then we're going to be pulling gook out of our chakra system, which is different than just doing the cleansing and all that. It's a little more, it's a little bit deeper. And then we'll be activating our complete chakra system, which is the Gaia Galactic. And then we'll be doing another cleansing and releasing old contracts and making it a new choice. And then the 6th week, we'll see what we want to do. We'll choose whether we're going to go back to the beginning, whether we're going to run through everything, do a whole bunch of healings all at once because we already did the beginning of it, or what we want to do depending on who's in the class. So just so you know, I'll be putting them out on email and that kind of thing. I think I had an email go out yesterday or the day before about the Pulling Yourself Together. So if you guys haven't gotten it and you want it, just let me know.
Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suggest that, some people know more. I don't know much yet about this stuff. Do you suggest studying the cards, or do you suggest just playing with them and doing little readings?
Yeah, just play with them.
Okay. So
there's 2 different ways to get really familiar with them. And it depends on how cerebral you are. So if you overthink things, if you tend to overthink everything, your best bet is just to play with them. Make it fun, let it flow. If you don't overthink things, then you can like meditate on each card and kind of, just go through them whenever you get a chance and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But what I find is people who are like really literal, or who really want like, this card means this card means this. If they do that, then they get locked into a meaning and then they're not reading. They're actually looking at the card and remembering what they think the meaning is, instead of intuiting what the meaning is for that person or that question that's in front of them.
Well, I think I am aware that it's good to know all the stuff you've taught us,
Mhm.
but I think I do know that your intuition is a big part of it.
Oh yeah, huge.
And you have to kind of go with that, because that's really that's just what's coming to you. So.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good.
Any other questions? Okay, I will see you guys next week. Enjoy your week, and remember to set up your cards by number.
Okay.
See you guys next week.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe, everybody.
Yeah, you too. Stay healthy.
Mhm.